Well, we have an emergency podcast situation, and we just don't do this to do it. Like, it takes a real legitimate 5-alarm college athletics sports fire to cause this. Michigan has fired Sherrone Moore for calls, and all I've seen, and David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback right here, Blaine, is having to rush on his way to get behind a mic, so you're really seeing how the sausage is made. That's, that's how we like to give it to you in Crain and Company. That's why we want you to win the water cooler. David, look, all I saw was inappropriate relationship with a staff member. That's all I've seen. This is something you've been hinting at for a while.
Yeah.
You have had information on for a while, but again, you did the smart play, played the long game, and now it is out for the world to see. David Cohn, what in the hell is going on at Michigan right now?
I want to say a couple things, but the first thing, obviously, to start with is the statement from, and my phone is, my phone doesn't even
do your
blow up
thing,
like this
buddy.
on my
I
birthday.
know.
Statement from University of Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel. Let's just start here. U of M head football coach Sherrone Moore has been terminated with cause effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and U of M maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Biff Poggi has been appointed head football coach in an interim capacity, effective immediately. Now, Jake, what I want to say here is, going as far back as September, I had credible sources, people high up within the program who have big-time contacts there, call me and say they started to hear unfortunate news that Coach Moore was engaged in inappropriate relationship with staff members, just like what Ward Manuel's statement just released. The only problem, Jake, that I had was I heard it 3 different times throughout the season. 3 different times people called me. The first one was after a loss to Oklahoma. I didn't hear about it again until after a loss to USC, and then obviously the internet started blowing up a week ago following a loss to the Buckeyes. So you have a situation where I'm hearing reports about inappropriate conduct and the possibility that Michigan's coach could be fired for cause immediately following 3 games they lost. But when Michigan's winning football games, I'm not hearing about this. You on the Auburn side had to deal with this with Brian Harsin. Remember, Auburn wanted Brian Harsin to be fired for being a bad football coach, but then all of a sudden rumors start breaking that he was having inappropriate relations. That turned out to not be true. I can't stand it when, a fan base or certain people want to make up things that aren't factual to try and get a football coach fired because they're losing football games. At the same time, like I said, the people who were contacting me about this aren't the type of people who are emotionally driven by the loss of football games. So I knew there was something credible about it. I was personally hoping that this part of it wasn't true and that this next year would be a put up or shut up year for Coach Moore on the football field. But honestly, just based off what I heard this fall, firing Coach Moore with cause is not the most surprising news that I've heard today.
Well, you guys are getting more SEC by the moment, the way I'm seeing it. You might as well just join the conference at this point. But no, in all actuality, I do want to say, again, he was fired. It seems like there's a there, but just for legal reasons, I will use the term alleged. To your point, it is amazing how when things are going bad, negative stuff starts to come to light. I just wonder if Michigan was getting ready to play in the first round of the playoffs, if we would have heard about this right now.
That's the point I want to hit on, Jake. And that's what you're talking about, getting more SEC by the moment. Like, if somebody should be fired for cause, they should be fired whether you're undefeated or whether you've lost every single game. Right. And so if Michigan were undefeated right now, going into the college football playoff, but yet none of this would be newsworthy, not only not fireable, but not even newsworthy, that I have a real problem with, because what kind of message are we sending to the young men that we're supposed to be coaching and bringing up in this world? At the same time, look, I think Ward Manuel's not moving on this. He's not moving on this unless there was a lot of evidence, like he said in the statement, an investigation done. This to me is not about on-field performance after a 9-3 year with a second-year head coach.
Yeah. Well, and again, you look at this situation, and I do believe, at least from what I've seen from Ward Manuel, and again, you have better connects than I do, that he probably felt forced to do this. Because, again, it's not like Michigan's coming off a 4-8 season. It's not like it was an absolute disaster. You were in it up until the last week of the college football playoff. This also isn't a situation like you brought up with Brian Harsin, and I'll give you another example, Jeremy Pruitt, when Tennessee was trying to find cause to fire him to save money, in which they ultimately did. And you brought up hearing the rumors, which you had kind of mentioned to us off air about a little bit, that, hey, just kind of keep your eye on this, because I'm having people that, like, I don't think would make this up tell me this. I always go back to, you know, when you're in a position of power, like a Sherrone Moore, and you basically got this job handed off to you by Jim Harbaugh, how stupid does Jim Harbaugh probably feel right now? How betrayed does Jim Harbaugh feel? And, you know, we can make jokes and, oh, well, an offensive lineman loses weight, then all of a sudden he's, you know, starts making bad decisions with women. But this isn't a joke. You fumbled the bag so bad, man. And I've watched Steve Sarkisian come back from, you know, his problems and doing all that. We've watched Lane Kiffin really turn himself around and do all these other things. But, man, I don't know if you're Sherrone Moore, how you come back from this and be a legitimate head coach again. But having said that, I watched Arkansas hire Bobby Petrino as the offensive coordinator, who we know what happened allegedly with the volleyball coach and the motorcycle. Just how stupid do you have to be? And I'll be honest with you, and people make mistakes. They do. But, you know, I'm married. I have a baby right here, and I know Sherrone Moore is married and has a family. Like, I just don't understand, you know, risking everything you've worked for your professional life at a place like Michigan, which is one of the top tier jobs in the world when it comes to the sport of football. I have nothing really other than say that if this is true, Sherrone Moore is a dumbass and shouldn't be leading the Michigan program. That's what I think.
This is completely disrespectful to the position that you were hired for. It's disrespectful to the office of the head football coach at the University of Michigan. Now, you used an important word earlier, allegedly. Obviously, at this point, they've done some sort of investigation. Something has happened. I'm still not going to come on here and pretend that all the things that I heard throughout this entire fall, there's a reason I didn't run to a microphone the first second that I heard this. I thought that I had a responsibility to the program to let them do an investigation and not me be some, you know, shock jock journalist or whatever who's just trying to run it.
No, you held. Clicks, look, I give credit where credit's due, and you're a friend of mine, but you held on to this whale for a long time. It's basically the story of Moby Dick at the end of the day.
Well, there was a part of me hoping that this is made up because you're frustrated with a head football coach. And look, from an on-field perspective, I think we can say, look, Sherrone Moore is not as good of a football coach as Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is one of the best.
There aren't many that are,
right? Like on both levels of football, professional and collegiate, Jim Harbaugh has had the utmost success. It was going to be hard to replace him anyway. I was just hoping that Sherrone Moore was going to be able to succeed or fail on the football field, because like I said, if all of this stuff is true with inappropriate relations with a staff member when you have a family and you have daughters, it's so disrespectful to the job you were hired for. If I'm hired as the head football coach at the University of Michigan, like, I don't know if I'm leaving Schembechler Hall. My family and I are going to find a little corner there to like every fiber of my being is going to be dedicated to trying to do the best I can at that job. And clearly that's not what was being done. So all I can say is I'm praying for the man, because this is going to be the most difficult time that he's ever had in his life, following the greatest opportunity he's ever had. So I'm praying for him, and I hope that something good can come from this.
David, do you have any more, and again, it's all alleged, I'm going to use that word again, do you have any more insight on, I'm not saying name names, but when you say a staff member, that can mean so many different things. That could be a trainer, that could be a water girl, that could be somebody in the AD's office. Is there any hint of, like, because to me, it's all bad, right? But I think there's a difference between it being a student and it being a grown-ass woman of like 30 years old. Do we have any information on that?
I can't speak to age, but I'll just come out and flat out tell you what I've heard now for several months. I heard that there was a woman that was involved with recruiting or something within the building. I don't know her age. I don't know anything else about her, and that there was possibly a pregnancy that was aborted from this. Again, all of this stuff is alleged.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if that part is true. I'm just telling you the things that I've heard that now are carrying some sort of credence that the athletic director has fired the head football coach. So,
oh my
again,
God, this is
what
a disaster.
levels of truth there are. I held on to this as long as I possibly could because, again, I was hoping that this wasn't true. But now the University of Michigan is without a football coach, and Biff Poggi is going to go coach them in a bowl game against Texas.
Well, to add a little bit of humor here, y'all going to be better on offense, at least from what I've seen with Biff Poggi doing it. But in reality, Cone, I mean, God, the timing of this is insane. Imagine if you just signed with Michigan. Like, imagine if you just signed on last Wednesday with Michigan. Like, that's wild. I wonder the stipulations of Bryce Underwood's contract, too, if something like this were to happen.
You coach the game, Jake. You coach the game. How much, I mean, clearly Ward Manuel has been doing an investigation for a while now into this. How much of this timing has to do with being post-signing day?
God, David, you know, the naive part of Jake wants to believe that he just got somebody went into Ward Manuel's desk today and said, here's the photos or here's the text messages. But as somebody who's been in the business world, that part of me is like, golly, man, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence it's after the Ohio State game? Is it a coincidence it's right after signing day? Man, I don't know, David. I hope it is. I really honestly hope it is, but a big part of me thinks that it's not because I know how these things work, unfortunately. I'm just to the point now where, all right, if you're Michigan, Sherrone's cooked. He's cooked. We know he's cooked, regardless of anything now. Biff Poggi is not going to be the guy to lead Michigan for the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, bro, where are you going here?
Jake,
like, what's
hiring,
the next move?
You're hiring in a cycle where LSU, Florida, Penn State, Auburn, all these schools have already made hires. You're hiring in that cycle. And again, look, we're talking about two different things when we're talking about a coach needed to be removed from the program because of inappropriate relationships that didn't measure up to the standard of the program and you had to fire him for cause versus his on-field performance. It may have been a direction that the program was headed in anyway based off. And look, I know Michigan just came off a 9-3 year with an 18-year-old true freshman quarterback, no less. At the same time, go look at that schedule. Right, like It's not going to get that much easier in an 18-team league in terms of the schedule that Michigan just played. But that much aside, though, I mean, my phone's blowing up. I've heard this for 3 months now. I didn't know how much truth there was to it because I was hearing about this after losses, but clearly Ward Manuel and Michigan felt like they had to make this decision. And again, I'm praying for him. I'm praying for Coach Moore and for the program now as they need to try and get ready to play a bowl game against Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns.
Well, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to say this, but I'm glad I picked Texas in the parlay I made earlier this morning on the bowl selection parlay. I'm just...
My dad shows up here yesterday to the house wearing a Texas sweatshirt. So
well,
you have no idea what the bowl games are?
Yeah, no, Papa Cone's going to come in swinging the big fist. We know that. I'm just, David, I'm just, again, I need to stop being shocked at the level of stupidity of some people. And again, I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. But what an all-time bag fumble. What an all-time bag. And again, the job's not even the worst thing you're about to lose, I would guess.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I'm praying for him, man.
Like, I mean... Oh, my goodness. I could not believe that was real. I thought that when I saw that On3 tweeted it, I for a second was like, this has got to be that parody account
that
of On3.
Yeah.
Like the No 3.
But again, I'll just say, if you have cause to fire a coach, you need to fire them whether they're undefeated or whether they've lost every single game. You need to keep to those standards.
100%. What is just as Blaine, I think he should be here in a second, but what is the vibe you're getting from the people that are reaching out to you? Is this like almost a sigh of relief in a way? I know that's a bad way to put it, or is it just embarrassment? Is it like what an embarrassment when you hear the Michigan way and Michigan man and things like that? I mean, what's the initial kind of vibe you're
This isn't very palatable to the Michigan fan base, particularly after you had the whole situation with Connor Stallions, in which you and I defended the program because we're talking about inside football knowledge when it comes to signal deciphering. That to me is completely separate than some of the things that we've discussed here in engaging with inappropriate sexual contact with relationships with a staffer. But anyway, the Michigan fan base is going to have no tolerance for this, and it's not going to sit well, and they're going to be, the butt of a bunch of jokes right now. But again, all they can do is the best decision for the program at this time. I think Ward Manuel has done that. I don't think on-field performance came into this at all. I think that Sherrone Moore was set up for a year 3. Now, the timing being post-signing day, I do think that probably had something to do with it. And I hope the young men, look, if they feel like they were deceived in some way or another, hopefully they can be able to get out of their signing or whatever. But I still hope they realize they're joining one of the best football programs in America. And I think that Michigan can do better at the head coaching position than what we've had the last couple years.
Guys, one of the coolest things we have in our house is one of those Aura frames.
Yes.
What is an Aura frame? Blaine asks while looking on his computer.
What is an Aura frame?
Interesting question, Blaine. I'll tell you. It's actually a picture frame that you upload your photos to, and it switches the pictures out after a time interval. My grandmother, who's 87, loves it. My 11-month-old daughter loves it. That's how much the age fans. And again, it's something we use, so we love that they sponsor the show. I mean, Cone, you got one too.
We got my parents one a couple years ago for Christmas. Now we got one. The kids are obsessed. I'm obsessed with it.
It is cool. So stop stressing about what to get everybody this holiday season. It's very easy. Our sponsor, Aura Frames. It's the one gift that always hits. So if you're like us and you want to get the perfect gift for that perfect someone for a limited time, visit auraframes.com. Use promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, to get $35 off their best-selling Carver matte frames. Named #1 by Wirecutter. You go to auraframes.com. Use promo code BOOSTER. Get that money off. This deal is exclusive to our listeners and watchers, and the frames, they sell out fast, so head on over there.
Well, and again, it's obviously come to a head with this, and I do want to make the case, and I'd say this about Alabama if it was Alabama, I'd say this about Utah State if it was Utah State. One person or a couple people do not define a whole group of people, and there will be jokes just like there always is on social media thrown around, and look, that's part of it, and there should be some in a situation like this, but that in no way I think reflects. I mean, I've seen the way you act and the way you conduct yourself and the way you are with your family, and I mean the other people we know that are a part of Michigan. I don't think this defines them at all. But just it's a dark day. It is, and again to your point, I am praying for Sherrone Moore, but like, God, what a dumbass, man. Like I don't know another way to put it.
Well, thanks for hopping on, man. I'm glad we were able to do this and provide some clarity. We'll have more information later in the week.
Yeah. Cone, thanks for finally being able to get that off your chest. I think that probably, not that it feels a little bit better, but it must be nice to get it off. In the comments, let us know what you think. I mean, I don't know what else there is to be said. Like David said, we're going to continue to monitor them. And Muffin, say bye. Muffin, say bye.
Bye.
Say bye-bye. Say, oh, you're going to get
Go
camera
blue.
shy. You
Bye. Say go blue.
Oh. There's a hand.
That's
There's
go
a hand.
blue.
Say bye-bye. All right. See you guys later. Make sure you're locked into Crain & Company.